It's August. I can't believe we're already here. I say this, I think, every single month. The time goes by quickly in the world of video games, in the world of pro wrestling. And we've got a bunch of news, and I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of news coming up because Gamescom is just around the corner. We've got all of our major game releases will be coming out in the next few months. But there have been some releases this week, and one including one that I definitely want to jump into. Doom 1 and Doom 2 have just been re-released because I think this is like the fourth re-release of those initial games. You probably played Doom on... Honestly, you can play it on anything. I've seen it run on microwaves. I've seen it run on calculators. It's one of those games that people are capable of making run out of anything. I've seen a potato operate a device that was running Doom. Like, that's how crazy and simplistic Doom's coding is they're capable of implementing into so much stuff. Anyways, they've just released what they claim is the definite version of Doom 1 and Doom 2. This was announced at QuakeCon 2024 this year. They've gotten their new re-releases that are available today on all consoles and PC. If you had the previous versions, you get a free upgrade to all of these updates to it. You get Doom 1 and Doom 2 with this bundle. You get all the master levels for Doom 2. Those were later additions to Doom 2, essentially what is DLC, but they were created by other users, and then they bundled all of the best ones into what is called the master levels. TNT Evolution, which I believe is a full side story to Doom that they've just decided to tack on. This was, I believe, was also fan-made, but then just becomes like part of the larger experience. The Plutonia Experiment, No Rest for the Living, Sigil. These are all things based off Doom. A brand new episode that's never been released. Brand new Doom, if you want, in there, called Legacy of Rust. It's made by Night Dive Studios and Machine Games. So, some pretty big developers.
Huge.
It's the newest episode of Doom, and it's the first official episode since Doom 2 to feature new demons and weapons. So it's got new weapons. It's got brand new sprites for demons. And they built a new deathmatch map that a map pack that features 25 new maps to Doom, and they upped up the amount of users you can play on multiplayer to 16 players. You can now play multiplayer death matches up to 16, as well as co-op up to 16. Full 120 hertz, full 4K, a brand new soundtrack. And it's also still compatible with every community mob that was made over the last 25 years. An insane package, and like people who have been playing, I like Doom, and I like Doom 2.
Love Doom.
I've never delved in deep into like the modded community and the side stories and the new episodes, but this seems like the most inviting package of Doom ever. They say it's a definite edition. I don't think they'll ever re-release it again. We say that now, but in another 25 years, someone will definitely do it again. But people who have played Doom, who are heavy into Doom, are giving this crazy ratings. If you are a Doom fan, let us know in the comments down below, because I need to know how big this is to you. I love Doom, and I cannot reading what is coming out with it. It makes me feel like this is an immense package for something that is only $9 on your platform. But I need to know how important this is to you, because a new episode of a game that's 30 years old is insane.
Well, I'll tell you this much, Uno, is because I'm with you in that Doom is so important to me as well. The first-person shooter genre is absolutely one of my favorites. And I often have said, and I think many people would agree, that the Halo franchise kind of brought the FPS to console in a lot of ways. But I think without question, Doom is responsible for making the FPS genre on PC and just in general incredibly popular. I mean, there's a reason this franchise has been so important, so special, and so loved for so many years. So to be able to see Doom 1, Doom 2, being re-released or remastered or remade in this way is Very, very exciting. I'm definitely going to grab my hands on, especially for $9.99. That's unbelievable.
And it's available on almost like all platforms. It's such a it, like if you have a laptop that can only run low res games, there's no way it can't run Doom.
Yep.
It's even with all these extra features, there's no way it can't run it. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be jumping into this. I'm sure by next week we'll talk about it because knowing about this and not knowing about it while I was traveling, I now know what I'm going to play for the next week for sure.
Right.
Some other video game news. This one is about Remedy Games, the people that made Alan Wake 2. Well, they've just now disclosed that Max Payne 1 and 2, they were the developers of it. They're getting remakes, and not only are they getting remakes, they've confirmed that they've entered in full production. So they are now actually like we're not that far from seeing some footage of it for sure. And they have a ton of other projects. Obviously, Alan Wake 2 just came out. The DLC is being worked on and will be likely coming out later in this year. Originally, it was said to be released by October. We'll see if that happens. But Control 2, if you do not know, a lot of Remedy games, all of their games start attaching to each other. So Control 2 would be the next game you want to play if you enjoyed Alan Wake 2 for sure. The sequel is now in an important portion of it where they're trying to deliver a build of the game that they can showcase several important features in playable form. So they're now probably for a year away from release. They're probably at that form where they want to have stage show form, where they're capable of bringing it to a stage show, probably Tokyo Game Show, since that'll be the next big one.
Yeah, probably right.
To be playable, to see a few of the levels before they start advertising it. So that's a huge thing. And then on top of that, they're working on their only multiplayer game right now, which is a live service spin-off from Controlled that is called Condor. I don't know if they will actually be called Condor. That is their test name. Well, they are now in a phase where they've built full productions on multiple maps and different mission types, and are now ironing those out and developing more. So that is also advancing tremendously. So there's still, if you're into Remedy games, they have a whole library of stuff still to come in the next 2 years. Very exciting, especially for me. Like, I love Alan Wake. I love the continuation of it. But Max Payne 1 and especially Max Payne 2 were a revelation to me when they came out. That bullet time stuff to me was the coolest thing to ever happen.
And Remedy just has such an unbelievable track record. For a lot of people, when Control 1 came out, that was their game of the year. And again, like we had discussed, Alan Wake 2, absolutely incredible. I'm actually very excited about the idea of getting to play Max Payne 1 and 2 remake, because I actually never really played the original Max Payne games. But I do know this, Uno. Fun little side note. My good buddy Roderick Strong, at one point when he was in college, he's discussed with me multiple times that when Max Payne came out, he was obsessed. He could not put his hands down. He could not stop playing Max Payne and how amazing this game was. So I'm going to make sure after this podcast, I tell Roddy that there's going to be a Max Payne 1 and 2 remake coming, and we're going to see if we can get Roddy back into games.
I know we talked about this a little bit. He's been dabbling in some of it. Obviously, he is a child now, and so that helps a ton. But considering how obsessed he was with Max Payne 1 and 2 when he was younger, I bet you we can get him to play this new one for sure.
I think so too. We show him a trailer, let him play the first level. It's going to be over.
Let him have that bullet time for like 2 minutes. I mean, it's. I remember I would play through that entire game in one sitting, and then a few days later would do it again. Like that first one is really, really good. And Max Payne 2 the story is incredible. Well worth playing for sure. Some more news. Kingmakers, the upcoming game where you are essentially one man who has access to guns in medieval times. You might have seen trailers of it where a bunch of knights in armor are fighting each other, and then one guy shows up on a horse with a machine gun and just starts destroying everyone. It's The trailer sold me on the game. It's only been in early access. It doesn't even have a full release date yet. Well, guess what? Doesn't matter, because there's been so much interest in it that it's already struck a movie deal. There will be a Kingmakers movie. This is from the people from Tiny built this. And a Dredge, Sifu, Disco Elysium, Vampire Survivors, and more recently the Tomb Raider stuff. Story Kitchen. They're also known for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, so they've been taking a lot of video game properties. It would seem that they have now shopped Kingmakers, and Kingmakers will be made. I guess it was. I understand it, because it is. If you show this to anyone, you understand the appeal of it. It's like this weird power fantasy. It's what is better than the sword than a gun? Well, you get to see it in action in these situations, and you get to. Essentially, you have like a giant map where you can actually control every individual army to set them to fight each other, and then that's from an overview, and then you can zone into the specific fights and call upon your one warrior with the weaponry and just wreak havoc to all of it. It looks really interesting. I haven't dabbled in the early access yet. But very excited to see what a movie will be about it as well.
Me too. Especially with, again, these video game to movie TV show adaptations have been very successful. So I'm very interested to see this, especially with this concept. Mm-hmm. Certainly seems interesting. And again, the Sonic movies are great.
Yes.
So I think Kingmakers is in good hands.
Yeah, Sonic 1 and 2 were surprising how good they were good. Because I remember the original trailer when people had were mad about the art style used for Sonic. Most people just anticipated it being no fun. And honestly, most of the time until more recently, when a video game movie was announced, when Super Mario was announced, there was no faith in how good it would be. We just assumed it would be trash, because for years we've been given trash movies for video games. Both the Mario movie, both the Sonic movies as well, have been tremendous. They've done great work. There's a ton of great fan service and surprisingly fun family movies as well. This will not be a family movie, I don't think, but...
Right. Which again, though, I think it makes gamers really happy. Because, I mean, obviously, this is like a general statement to make. But again, these games mean so much to us, and these characters mean so much. So the fact that type of appreciation is taken to these franchises and then brought to the movie screen or the TV screen is just wonderful. It really, really is.
Well, on the other side of this, as good as the movies have been for video games, the Borderlands movie just came out, and initial reviews for it are not good. To give you an idea, Rotten Tomatoes' average score of it is 9%, which is ridiculously low. I know how much this hurts you because you're a huge Borderlands fan, but critics have called it a complete mess, saying that they've been blasting the film because it has lack of chemistry between any of the actors, lack of humor, poor CGI, and not even respecting the source material. So it doesn't even, on fan service levels, it would seem people are mad on that level as well. With some of the only positives being that Cate Blanchett and Jack Black are good actors and therefore hold some of the movie together. You're a huge Borderlands fan. Were you excited at all for this? I kind of saw this one coming. They did not seem to push this one as hard as I think that a lot of the other video game movies that were coming up.
Yeah, no, I was really excited. Again, I mean this wholeheartedly, but the Borderlands franchise is one of my top 5 favorite video game franchises ever. Like, I've said this before. I know when I wrestled at All In that match, my gear was patterned after Handsome Jack from Borderlands 2, who is my favorite video game villain of all time. I think that world and that environment is so interesting. It's funny, it's organic, and it's just different. And I think for a lot of Borderlands fans, this was something a lot of us were really excited about. So I personally have not seen the movie yet, so I can't pass my own judgment. But this does bum me out to hear that it's been received so poorly. Not only because, again, video game movies and TV shows have just been crushing it across the board lately, but because Borderlands does mean a lot to a lot of people, me specifically. So this is a bummer. Again, there is a small part of me that's hoping that when I do watch this movie, because I'm definitely going to, that I will be able to appreciate it and enjoy it and things like that. But obviously, this is not a good sign. And truth be told, if they do end up making another one, maybe that one will be received better.
It could be, yeah.
It is heartbreaking. It really, really is. Because I do, like, again, Borderlands is such an amazing gaming franchise. So we'll see. We'll see, I guess. But yeah, this is certainly a bummer.
The surprising thing, though, is it could be essentially a bad movie, but if financially it does okay, they will make another one. And that second go around might actually be better. I kind of anticipated this is Borderlands 1 and 2, especially Borderlands 2 has a special place in my heart as well. It was one of those co-op games. It had at the time comedy that like I actually was interested in, that I found funny. Borderlands 3 came out and it kind of felt, it wasn't a bad game. I enjoyed the shooting elements. I enjoyed the co-op elements of it, but it felt in a lot of ways that it lost some of the humor of the first two games. And I'm not entirely surprised a Borderlands video game movie does not hit that point of humor, because the teams that work on those first two are not the same people that work on this or on the later games, and like those ideas come from specific people. It's very hard to try and reproduce that. So I'm not entirely surprised. I will say I'm still gonna watch it.
Me too. 100%.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll go to the theaters. It might be a plane movie for me or at home movie, but I know that even if people, and now and if I'm being frank with people, I like when people hate on a movie because I go in with low expectations, and almost always I come out enjoying it way more. When people tell me the movie is good, I come in with high expectation. I never end up enjoying it as much. So unfortunate. We'll see if it actually financially does well, because I don't think a bad movie review will affect it that much. It's still a huge franchise in the video game world. But we'll see if that franchise means any views to the general public.
Right, definitely.
And then finally, our last piece of news this week, Black Myth Wukong, the Chinese-developed, what is essentially a Souls-like game, third-person role-playing game, is coming out August 20th. So this will be about 8 days once this podcast releases. Well, there's been a ton of people who have had hands-on previews, who have dropped their pre-reviews on it, and most based on solely what has been released as of yet, this might be one of the best looking action RPGs in years, which is crazy because Elden Ring just came out. It is currently the #1 global top seller and most wishlisted game on Steam. It got an immense boost once pre-reviews came out, and it's got obviously a ton of great great feedback from the people who have played it. But rumors also say that while it's not only a good game, it's a huge game. It will have New Game Plus, which means you can get a second run with your current statted up character. It has
multiple too, right?
Yes,
New Game Plus at launch.
Launch, it will have multiple endings. Ooh, yes. That to me, that's like that always entices me for sure.
Yes,
over 160 enemy types and over 80 bosses in the video game. Yeah, it's looking really good. If you have not looked up Black Myth Wukong, there's a ton of videos, including some pre-release video game footage from it. I'm immensely excited. I know this is the type of game you are as well.
Yes.
There's 2 games this month I know I was going to jump into. That's one of them. Star Wars is coming out the next week. I'm actually hoping I can finish Elden Ring in time for this, because I would like to give this some of my attention.
Uno, I'm completely on the same page with you. Like my goal is, if this week I can finish the Elden Ring DLC, which, you know what, I think we're going to do it.
I think we're going to do it.
We're going to put that out in the universe. I think we are going to finish it this week. But yes, this game just looks so unbelievably awesome. And again, when you get the reviews back and you hear the positive response, it does nothing but makes me even more excited. And like you said, Star Wars Outlaws as well. Like, it's going to be a good month. It's going to be a really, really good month.
Real good month for video games. And hopefully you will be playing along with us as we play Black Myth Wukong.